I know I shouldn't, and I don't usually. I mean, every now and then, I see something.
I told you she was here. I'm here.
That was Michaela.
Oh my god.
All right.
You can't hear this.
I can't hear. My ears are now blocked. I'm going through a whole series of stuff.
Why don't you take a day off?
I took 2 days off. I can't take it anymore.
I'm
Alright.
sure you have 6 days. So you never.
I know. I don't think. No, listen. I don't exactly troll the internet, but when I have the old students often Facebook me, and so I see a lot of the crap they put up there, and I don't check it all the time. But when I do it, almost every day that I check it, there's multiple things that just gets me so frustrated. A lot of times it's about controversial things, politics, global warming, abortion. They love and then of course it starts this big Facebook war, And not normally, never do I get involved. I just don't want to get involved in these big wars, And I didn't this time either. But I had to share this one with you because this is like what we've been talking about. I want you guys to break this down with me. I'm only going to take about a few minutes, take a couple minutes to read it, and then I want to break it down and see why I would be so angry at how bad a piece of journalism this thing is. This title being, 11 lies high school teachers claim about college. Liar, liar, pants on fire. I just want to read a few of these. And I want to afterwards see if you can find the holes and the problems and why I have a problem with an article that's written like this and that says the things it says. Okay? From kindergarten to senior year of high school, teachers were pounding information into our heads about life outside the school district. Through threats of failure and cheers of success, college was always a stress-inducing topic when it came to the mouth of a high school teacher. Here are a few lies that my high school teachers have told me about college. 1, your professors won't care as much as we do. I have never in my entire school career met anyone more caring for their students than the professors at my university. When I am sick, they send me emails about home remedies. They ask me my hometown and actually remember my silly stories about my dog. College professors put you before your grade, and in that, they care more than my high school teachers. Number 2, you will lose most of your high school friends and find your true friends in college. My high school friends are still my nearest and dearest friends. We communicate every day, and they never let me down when I need a smile or a laugh. Coming to college has only made me realize how lucky I am, blah, blah, blah. All right, number 3, professors will write notes with one hand and erase them with the other. In other words, I've told you this one. You're going to write really fast. You think I talk fast? Wait till you get to a professor in college. So basically, my professor will not give me enough time to write enough, blah, blah, blah. This isn't high school. Students don't stop the professor every 4 minutes, every 4 seconds. But of course, she debunks that. She says, actually, we barely have slides. And if we do, we were given the PowerPoint ahead of time. Even if we did ask to go back a slide, the professor would never scoff at us like high school teachers do. They honestly could, by the way, could care less. Couldn't care less, right? All right, let's keep going. You'll struggle with learning time management. While this is not entirely false, high school teachers appear to have treated us like we knew nothing about being on our own. Yes, it's our first time without our parents. Yes, we have a new routine, but give us a chance at least. By the way, the reason I put this up as I stop here in the middle, I don't know who wrote this, but I'm assuming they at least went to or are in college. Okay, maybe a couple of years, maybe even all 4 years. I do know who posted it. If you looked, you probably could see too, because they're former students here. I do know who posted it, and I know she has a grand total of 1 semester in college. And to repost this as if, you have all the answers now that you've had a semester of college, and you have all the things that these teachers are telling you are 100% wrong is interesting in and of itself. But let's keep going. The professors are much stricter than we are. Really? Because you just yelled at me for not stapling my paper at home. Meanwhile, my professor told me as long as my name was on each page, he didn't care if it was stapled or not, as long as it was somewhere. You will have to teach yourself in college. Well, this is another half-truth. I still need to call out the high school teachers. Professors have office hours nearly every day. Nearly every day. It's an amazing statement. Yeah, you're right. They have office hours about every other day for an hour. And so if it happens to coincide when you're free, you might be able to see your professors 3 hours out of the week when they actually have to be able or forced to talk to you. But anyway, she makes it out like you have no problem finding these professors. By the way, all of this is basically true. A lot of these are basically true. I should say all of this is basically true. If you go to a very small college, a small liberal arts college where your class sizes are 20 or 30 in a class, a lot of what she's saying is true. You will get very good professors. I had good professors. I went to Scranton University. It was a small college, small Jesuit college, and it wasn't that hard, Maggie. I understand that. But when we talk to you about when you're going to Penn State and you're in a freshman class of 1,000 or 500, you're not going to get those kind of personal attention. But anyway, if you are even a minute late to class, your professor will not accept you. I don't know anybody who's ever told, I don't remember ever saying that to anyone. I don't know any teacher who ever said that. But even so, she debunks that one. The workload is much heavier in college. Well, if it isn't, why are you in college? I mean, shouldn't it be harder? And let's go down through things. You can't turn in your paper like this at college. Like noted above, as long as you get your paper done, professors don't care if it's stapled, paper clipped, or whatever. Okay, I'm going to get back to all of these. You'll have zero free time. No teacher's ever said that to a kid going to college. I don't know any teacher who's ever said, well, when you get to college, you're not going to have any free time. Every teacher in high school who's been to college and has had multiple students knows that you have 10 times more free time at college. That's why the freshman 15, you know why you have a freshman 15? Because you're up at 2 o'clock in the morning with all your free time, with gabbing with your friends, you get hungry again, you eat again, and you eat, and you eat, and you eat. You have all this free time. It's true. I mean, that's basically what happens. No one. So in the last one, you'll miss high school. I've never said this one. So I want you to look at all those. I kind of read through most of them, and I want you to think about it. All right. And I want to tell you some of the things that really stuck out. Maybe you could think about a few while I'm mentioning these. Number one is the arrogance. At most, I don't know. Again, I don't know who wrote this, but I do know who posted it. At most, this person is talking about their own experiences and transferring that to all the lies and lying liars that tell those lies other teachers told them. Teachers aren't telling you this based on their one experience, their 4 years of college. I've had literally 4,000 students over the past 30 years of teaching. Literally 4,000 students, somewhere around that number. I kept in touch with a lot of them. They came back to me and told them. I've also raised 3 kids and put them through college. And I went to college and my wife went to college. I'm not talking about one person's experience. When a teacher tells you some of the things they tell you, they're talking about literally hundreds, if not thousands of kids' experiences. And just because she happened to have professors that let her turn in crappy papers late and walk into class late with no punishment and all those other things she's saying she had at her college doesn't mean that's the norm. One semester of college doesn't make you an expert about college, and that everything your teacher told you was 100%, everything your high school teacher told you was 100% wrong. So the arrogance of assuming because you have a semester or two or even a year or two of college that you now know that everything your high school teacher told you was a joke, and now I'm in college and everything, I'm learning the real life, is arrogance. It's absolute arrogance. It's applying your one situation to everybody's. And of course, I know that that's not true. Secondly, half of these are what you would call a straw man argument. I don't know a teacher in the world who's ever said you'll have zero free time in college. Never have the words left my mouth, nor have I ever heard a teacher say it. I have never said you're going to miss high school. You've never heard me say that. You've never heard me say half the things that are on here are what we call a straw man. You straw man is you put words into your mouth, you build the other person's position up so easily to be knocked over, like a straw man. It's so easy to knock it over because that's not their position. I never said that. I never said that. I never said a lot of these other things that she has in here. I mean, they're just not true. No teacher ever said these things. And there's about half of them that I would never say. And the half that I would say, let's get to that. If your professor really doesn't care if you're late to class and really lets you turn in a paper that's jumbled together and as long as you got your name on it and doesn't care about MLA formatting or anything else, he's a crappy professor because his job is to prepare you for the next step. And you think that you're allowed to come late to if I came late every day to my job, would I not get in trouble for it? Shouldn't there be consequences to coming late or not coming to class? Shouldn't there be consequences to turning in a sloppy, crappy paper that didn't follow the rules? There should be consequences. So even if on the half of the things that teachers actually do say, even if she's right and her professors and her small experience allowed her to do that crap, they were wrong and bad professors. Your high school teachers were right in almost every one of the ones that we would actually say on here. We were right. Let's go back over some of these. The first one. Your professors don't care as much as we do. Tell me it's possible for I was I have multiple experiences in this, both teaching at the college level, only as a graduate assistant, and LCC and Bloom, but at the college level, at the high school level. So I have both experience in both. I've also talked to thousands of kids, literally, and sent 3 kids to college. No professor at a large university, especially in a science or engineering kind of major or math major, is going to have time to spend with you on an individual basis like you get in high school. You're just not going to know people like you know Mrs. Driscoll, or like you know Byrne. You even call her by her first name. Okay, but the fact is, I don't care what you say. It's just not the case. It's never going to happen. Not at a university like Penn State, where you've got 40,000 kids walking around the campus. It's just not going to happen. Now, this woman may have gone to a very small college, and then it very well could happen. I'm not saying that's completely wrong, but I'm saying that if you go to a big college, it is. There's no way they're not going to know it. They're not going to be emailing you and asking you about your dog, like she says. It's just not going to happen. At least it's not going to happen very often. You'll lose most of your high school friends. How much experience could she possibly have in that? She's 1 semester into college, the person who reposted this. And the person who wrote it, I don't know anything about, but I'm assuming she went to college, or is in college at this point.
2 years.
2 years. All right, so she's been in school for 2 years, if that's what she says in here somewhere. How could you possibly know that? Again, based on my experience, when I talk to former students, based on my own experience, being much older than her or the person who posted it, I can tell you it's very likely, much more likely, that you're not going to keep your high school friends. You move to different colleges. One's in Florida, one's in Penn State, one's in California. After that, you get a job and you're all over the country. You just can't keep in touch with them. You're more likely to keep in touch with college friends because you're more likely to marry the person you met in college. You're more likely to be friends with that person and work with that person. All right, less likely in high school where you have such a mishmash of people that don't have the same common interests. When you go to college, you're going to meet people in the same areas, the same. Like you're in engineering school, you're gonna have a lot of classes with the same people, so there's a good chance you would work together. All right, so almost every one of these that I would say is correct, and she's completely and 100% wrong about them. Professors will write no, absolutely true. This is one that I say all the time. This is one that I specifically say all the time. You think I talk fast? Wait till you get to college. Professors will be writing stuff on the board. Now, granted, I know that has changed. I keep up on stuff, and I keep up on technology. You know that. I give you PowerPoints. I tell you it's a lousy way to learn. But she's right about one sense. Most professors nowadays do hand out your PowerPoints. It doesn't mean they don't talk fast. It doesn't mean you just don't go to school, you don't go to class. They're still going to talk very quickly. They're still going to give notes. And the second part and the last part about this one here is that, again, if you're an education major, if you're going to be a teacher, you're right. Your professor is going to talk at an elementary level because you're going to be an elementary teacher. For a lot of them are going to be. Honest to God, if you're going to be an engineering, science, math major, you are going to run into more professors like that than you run into like her, like she describes. Guaranteed. And that's what I'm here to teach you. I'm not here to tell you about you want to be an art history major, you want to be an education major. Those people, I'm sure, are very laid back. I'm not sure because I wasn't that major, but I can assume that. I know that the people in the science and engineering are not like that. They're much more type A. Time management. Absolutely true. You guys, you guys probably know how many of your older brothers or sisters or friends went off to college and dropped out. Couldn't handle it. Why? Because they couldn't handle not having right now, your life is regimented for 8 to 10 hours a day. 6 or 7 hours you're here in this building, going from a bell to a bell to a bell. You don't have to think about time management there. Then you go to your practices or your clubs or whatever after school. So for hours after that. 8 to 10 hours a day. Your life is, you go to college, you're going to have tons of free time, which goes down to everyone. How you use that time? Do you use it starting the party on Thursday night? A lot of them do. I know this from experience. Maybe she didn't. Maybe she had no problem. But again, it goes back to what I was saying before. Extrapolating your one experience into everything else. And the snarky way that these are written. As if, well, all my teachers are a bunch of lying liars. And all these high school teachers are idiots. All right, just a snarky way everything's written here. Just makes me sick. Again, there are way more controversial and crappy things on the internet. What I guess bothers me the most about this is my personal involvement and knowledge of how bad and wrong it is. That's one thing. And the other thing is the fact that it's not this big controversy. It's not a Bernie Sanders meme or it's not abortion or something else where you're going to get this big fight. It's not some big controversy. It's something that most of you guys are going to read and say, yeah, I knew it. I told you. And you're going to believe it. You're just going to believe it offhand. You're not going to have that other opinion of it. You're not going to read it critically. And whatever happened to reasonable discourse? I mean, it's like every one of these things is so snarky and so arrogant. It's like, you're not just wrong, you're a bad person for telling us this. It couldn't possibly be that not only is this person such an arrogant person that she thinks she's 100% right and all of her teachers are jerks and wrong. Could it possibly be that maybe she would change their opinion sometime in the future? Maybe when she gets a little bit more experience, maybe when she's not just basing it on one person's experience, but rather a teacher basing it on all the thousands of kids he's taught and his own kids and his own experience and putting all that together when he told you some of these things, that he wasn't trying to just scare you into paying attention to his class, but actually trying to give you some useful information. So again, what happened to civil discourse? This is not the way, even if she had some points to it, this isn't the way you make that point. You don't make that point by being a jerk, which is exactly what I would. I'm reading this. Any teacher would be insulted. And I think it was funny because the person who posted, the person that I know who posted it, first words, don't want to offend any of my former teachers, but I always love that. No offense, but I love the no offense but defense. Like no offense, but I hate this class. No offense, but you're a jerk. No offense, but you're ugly. I mean, you can't do that. You can't just put the words no offense in front of the next three words you're going to say, and therefore it absolves you from any problems. All right? You can't do that. But she knew. She could tell she knew that was going to be a problem because she wrote at the very top of this before she posted it. No offense to my former teachers, but, and of course post this. With all of one semester's worth of experience, this is or 2 years for this person who wrote it. You said you saw that somewhere. I don't know. She could have 4 years. It doesn't matter to me. My point is, what arrogance that takes to either repost this or to say it to begin with. The arrogance it takes to do that, to just assume that your teachers, your high school teachers, are just all jerks. Are some of them jerks? Absolutely. Some of you think I'm a jerk. That's fine too. And when you go off to college, you'll find other people, I'm sure, are bigger jerks. And there's probably other ones in high school that you love, and there's college professors that you're going to love as well. I understand that. But I think something like this does not add to the discourse. It doesn't add anything to anybody. And almost everything online nowadays this is a nice example. I mean, you know that because you read the stuff that's online. You read the crap that's out there. I mean, this is a nice example. No one even think twice about this. And I am more bothered by something like this because it's insidious. And not like the movie. Because it's insidious. You don't know what the word even means. You think it's a horror movie. Okay. No, it sneaks in under the radar. And it just slowly lowers your tolerance for crap, for your tolerance for incivility, and your tolerance for bad grammar. Could care less, should be, couldn't care less. It lowers that, and that's what I hate about things like this. So I just thought I'd share that with you. And
Mr.
I know. You guys got to go. Yeah.
Is the person that posted